Okay, so this is my actual Amiga 600 from back in the day. It's a little bit crusty. It's probably time to fix it up. Last time I checked, which was probably about 4 weeks ago, it does actually work. The only thing I've done to it so far is I've put a new floppy drive in it because that didn't work. And I replaced the RAM expansion, which was also dead. But other than that, it's stock Amiga 600. And like I said, this one actually used to belong to me, and I haven't even cleaned it or anything. It's got the original scum on it. I'll just show you the original scum. It's pretty yellow as well. But yeah, this was my actual Amiga. What I want to do is basically get it back into working order, clean it all up. I want to recap it, and I'm probably going to show how I recap it because I've done one of these before, and now, you know, maybe that qualifies as me as maybe knowing what I'm doing, but at least I can show you how I'm going to do it. Probably retrowrite it. Oh, and I've ordered some expansions and stuff, like put a hard drive in it. I've got a new ROM for it to slightly upgrade the ROM. To start with, I want to try and get the caps off. I haven't got, I've ordered a capacitor pack, but I haven't got the new caps yet, but I can still just try and get all the caps off. So that's probably the first thing to do, is disassemble it and get the old caps off. But I just want to check that it still works first. So I'm going to plug it in now, and we'll just verify that it all still works. The caps in this are now 29 years old. So last time I checked, you couldn't really see any leakage on them, but it's possible, well, they're not going to last much longer either way. It looked like they hadn't leaked, but it's quite hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes they can leak and it's very difficult to actually see. But either way, the Amiga still works, so that says that the caps must be working to some degree, but how much longer they will last after 29 years is debatable. And in fact, that's what you get left over after you've recapped it. So that's I've basically got another one that I bought off eBay that I repaired, and this one I did actually recap. So it was the first one I ever recapped, and that's what you get left over. This one also was working, and I don't think any of the caps really were actually leaking in this one. But again, 29 years old. How much longer is it going to be before this thing leaks? The answer is probably not long. There's a lot of Amigas out there where these have just leaked years before these ones, so just got lucky with these two, I suppose, but you know, your luck runs out if you push it too hard. So let's boot the Amiga and just see that it still works. Right, first test. Let's see if New Zealand Story works. And I know it does because I just tried this, because I forgot to record the screen, so I'm doing it again. Here we go. The New Zealand Story test passed. So it boots, the drive, floppy drive works, keyboard works, sound works, video works. Well, composite, this is composite video out, that's why it looks a bit crappy. But good enough to show that at least this was working before I started. Oh, it's rebooting now. Keyboard works. And it looks like the memory expansion's working as well. This would be really nice with the hard disk for this. I've actually ordered a flash drive to go in as the hard disk, which would be really nice. Just to have a workbench built in without a floppy disk would be great. Yeah, and there is 2 megabytes of chip RAM. So that's a brand new expansion that I got. Because I've got 2 old ones that came out of this Amiga and the other one, and they've all completely failed over the years. So don't know, the quality of the RAM chips in those RAM expansions either wasn't very good, or they've been zapped over the years. But yeah, it looks like this Amiga is a good one. So I've got to try and keep it that way and get it back to its former glory, and not be afraid to turn it on without the caps blowing up. I mean, they might be exploding right now in here for all I know. So yeah, I'm going to unplug it now, open it up, and we'll take a look at the inside. Right. I'm going to take this thing to bits for about the 50th time. I think as well, pop that, this trapdoor. Oh, it's the perfect tool. Oh, did it just snap something? Oh, nearly. A little bit piece of plastic came off there. But yeah, this is a brand new well, pretty much brand new memory module. That's more like, it doesn't look like the old ones at all, that one. So they've just got two of the same RAM chips that's on the board. So I'll put that to one side, but that works perfectly fine. I didn't get the real-time clock module because I didn't want anything with a battery in it, because I know what happens to those batteries. And there's two screws on that hold the, what they do, they hold the floppy drive in, I think, but I've got to take those out anyway. Now I think all the clips are broken on this case, as they usually are on these A600s, but this one, I think they are all broken. Not that that makes much difference, but yeah, there we go. I think I've got to get this power cable out. Oh, there we go. So this is the hard drive bracket where there's no hard drive. You pop this keyboard connector up a bit. The keyboard cable should just pop out. It can be quite stiff. There we go. Oop. So that's the keyboard. So the keyboard's just connected in there. I'll probably have to take that out if I'm going to retrobrite this, but God, that is so scummy. That's probably my fault as well. This was left in a box for ages, but it's just never been cleaned. And this, yeah, this is the only thing I've really done to it, is the old floppy drive was just mega dead. So that had to be replaced. There's only one screw that holds it in, I think. There we go. There's so much scum inside the case as well. So that's the brand new floppy drive out with the 3D printed button. It sometimes gets stuck. Oh, I think maybe this the bit of the board here is kind of newer than the other bits. That doesn't look factory. Maybe it is. I don't know if that didn't look like the other Amiga that I recapped. This cap here looks like it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they just put. Oh yeah, they're just a completely different brand of caps to the other one. Perhaps they just had a brand of cap that didn't fit on this particular Amiga. But I don't think this has been recapped. I mean, this one's been mine, so it couldn't have been recapped. It's been in a box for 10 years. I think these are the original caps. It's quite dirty inside, and it is from, it says copyright 91, but I don't know what year these chips are from. Let's have a look. 391, 9107. 39107, I don't know if that's the part number. So it seems to be 91 vintage. Don't know, it's very dirty though. But otherwise working perfectly. And hopefully it can stay that way. The caps look okay, but there's a lot of dust on them. The big electrolytics don't look like they've leaked. That one's shiny. That's shiny. That one is. That one is. Over here, they all look really actually quite good. It's unbelievable that some of these computers have got caps that have just leaked all over the place. And this is 29 years old, and I don't believe it's been recapped because this one was mine. And it looks fine, so I don't really know what the deal is there. Why is that a thing? Why do sometimes they work and sometimes they don't? I know it's been stored in a room for 10 years where it was very, very cold in winter. Like probably like close to freezing or almost temperature outside, and in summer it would have been baking hot. So, but I don't believe either of those conditions are good for the computer really. You're not supposed to really freeze them and you're not supposed to heat them up. So maybe we didn't have very good summers. We definitely had some horrible winters at that point. But yeah, it's been stored for a very, very long time, and I can see lots of dust inside. It's going to need a clean up. And I've got a new ROM for it as well. I think this is revision 1.5, and the other one I've got is 1.3, so I don't know what's different about this one, but something's different. It's going to get recapped. I need to remember where. We've only got two screws from inside. One is for the floppy drive, and this one is from the motherboard. I don't know if this one's the same as the others. Very similar. I think this can come out now. It's a bit weird. I think you actually have to bend the case a little bit to get the Amiga 600 motherboard out. I don't believe, yeah, they designed it any other way. So come on, out you come. It's just this bit here. It's these joystick ports that have to come. There we go. They have to do that. I don't think anything else is holding it in. If it's not coming out now, it's just stuck from all the grime. Maybe it's still this joystick port. Come on. There we go. Ooh, look at all the scum in there. Oh, and there's rust underneath. Oh, it's had a bit of water in there. Oh dear, what happened there? Somehow, it's not really bad. There's a bit of rust. So I have to check under the motherboard there. But some water must have got in there at some point. But this Amiga survived all that, so good on you. Yeah, so it looks like maybe a bit of rust in there. I can see a little bit of rust here. So it's definitely not been stored as well as it could, but this survived. So made in the UK, that's obviously why it survived. But yeah, it's doing all right. So I'm just going to put all this stuff to one side. This needs to get cleaned and stuff. And here is what we came for. Now for this bit, you don't necessarily need one of these, but it does help. And that is one of these little hex remover things. You can see I've never even taken the tag off it. To get these things off, because you can do it with some pliers, but it's just really annoying. But this thing, you just go like that, and then you unscrew them. So I don't know what this is called. This is a, oh, it says it there. Yeah, 5mm hex. That's what you want. So like I said, you don't need one. You can get a pair of pliers and you can take them off like that. But trust me, I did it when the first time I disassembled one of these and it took me ages, and then you've got to put them back. So just having one of these just makes life a little bit nicer. So you can't argue with that, because there's how many? 2, 4, 6, there's 8 to take out. Otherwise you can't get this board out of the shielding, the bottom shielding. Take it off. Right, so this would just free itself, but yeah, all these tabs here are folded over. I've got a tab, there's a tab there, and tab. These two are folded up already, and there's one here. If you don't fold at least some of these up, you'll never get the board out. They were to hold the shielding in, the top shield that is, but you do have to fold them back when you put it back in, otherwise your floppy drive won't go in. So don't need to fold, oh god, I've got to fold that one up I think. And again, you don't need pliers to do this, but it just helps. So let's see if we can get this out now. This feels stuck. It does feel stuck. Don't want to force it, I'll bend the board. Oh, it's actually got a screw there. I don't think my other one had that. Didn't know about that. Yeah, I think that screw's holding the shield on. I'm pretty sure my other Amiga didn't have that. Maybe they decided to save a penny and not put it in. I think this has got to come out. Yeah, it has. It's holding the shield on. Yeah, there's definitely some rust going on in there. A little bit, not much, but some rust. Like I said, the joystick port's working as far as I know. Oh, I think there's going to be rust under here. I can hear it. This bit just won't seem to pop out. So yeah, it's freed itself down here, and this end is still fully attached. It's because of this clip. I need to unclip this. But it's actually quite hard. Yeah, the other one wasn't this hard at all. It's just really stuck. I feel like it's stuck on something. Right, so that took ages, but it's mostly because this bit here was just stuck. Ah, it's like a little bit of paint or something there. I think it felt like it was glued in or something. But it is actually free now. I haven't taken it out yet, but this, oh, is it coming out? There we go. That should have been really easy, but that just took ages. I think there's little bits of glue or paint or something. Hopefully I've not done any damage to it or anything like that. No, I don't think so. I think that's okay. Oh, and the back side of it's much cleaner than the front. That's what the front should look like. But yeah, that looks quite clean on the back. That's quite nice. So yeah, that was just, I don't know why. The other one wasn't like that, but it was really stuck. And I think it was because there's a little dab of paint there. Was it corrosion or something? Possibly, but yeah, look, there's definitely bits of corrosion under here from rust or something. So like I said, it wasn't stored very well over the years, but yeah, rust. We've got rust. So that's a bit unfortunate, but doesn't seem to have done too much harm, but I'll try and clean some of that rust off because this bit's got to go back because this holds the board in. So that is good. So that took longer than I thought, but I've got the shield off. Oh, there's so much dirt that's come off this already. Dirt's just falling away. Oh, it's really bad. First things first, or is this really a first thing? Don't know. Need to check, see if there's any capacitor damage. I might have to clean it a bit first because they don't look bad. But it is quite hard to tell with these capacitors. There's two here behind the audio connector. That one looks like it's brand new because it was probably under the floppy drive. These look perfectly fine, but again, remember these are 29 years old, so how long are they going to last? I don't know. It looks like they're all the same brand capacitors, Shuai, whatever that is. I don't know what brand that one is there. Yeah, they're all the same brand. It was Elna in the other one, and they were all right actually. The Elna ones, I think I looked them up. Elna are still in business, so they mustn't be too bad. But yeah, there's a lot of dust in that PCMCIA socket. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean and then we'll be able to see what's going on. To start with, I'll just try and dust it down a bit just because it's so dirty. Yes, it doesn't it? Yes. But again, this has been stored in a box for like 20, I don't know, more than 10 years, maybe 20. And it has been out recently, but only just to, you know, resurrect it and see if it worked. Which I'm quite shocked that it actually did. Again, given the unreliability of these electrolytic capacitors that are in these. But they're just almost guaranteed to fail, so it's definitely a question of, you know, it's not if they're going to fail, it's just when are they going to fail is the question. And originally I wasn't really up for replacing them, but after discussions with other people, they're like, they're just going to fail anyway. And I know how to replace them now. I've got all the gear to do it. So why wouldn't I replace them? I might boot this up again in a minute as well and just make sure that I've not busted it. Because I was prying a bit to get that motherboard out. Like I said, I think it was like weirdly glued in. I'll give it a bit of a clean with some alcohol first. But yeah, there's a lot of fluff in there. I think I might have stabbed something into my finger because it feels funny. I think I have. I've stabbed a piece of metal in there maybe. That's not good. So I'm just brushing all the fluff off. Ancient hair, dog hair, stuff like that. Ugh, it's disgusting. Yeah, so that just came off the board. Yeah. That's not good, but cleaned it off now. A bit of alcohol wouldn't go too far amiss just to clean up these dirty bits of the board. And this CIA slot as well. Right, that's looking a lot better. And then the real question then is, do the capacitors, have they leaked? And the answer is probably not. I don't think they've leaked at all. It's hard. Sometimes though they don't look like they've leaked until you take them off, but they've still got quite shiny pads. I don't know, this must like be the only Amiga 600 that's not been recapped that actually still has good caps in it. But that is unbelievable from like, maybe this, I mean, this is the one that had a different brand to my other one. The other one was still working though, but you could definitely see they were on the way out. And one of them, once you get the hot air to them, they start to smell. They're a little dull up there, so they could be on the way out. But like I said, it's just a matter of time. But yeah, it's a bit cleaner now. Clean enough to work on, I think. So the next step now, because I don't actually have the replacement caps yet, is to get the caps off. I'm going to boot it first to make sure I haven't broken anything while I was doing this. But I need to get the caps off. And this, the big problem is, these are easy to get off. These here, around here, this one, these ones, these through-hole ones are quite easy. These ones around here look like they're going to be hard, but actually they're not. When I recap them, these three here, I don't actually replace these because they're basically only used for the RF modulator, and like, who the hell's going to use this thing anyway? I don't know how you're ever going to plug that in and use it on anything nowadays. You've already got video output and composite output, then an RF modulator that's just totally useless. This was really a backward step for the Amiga 600 because the Amiga 500 didn't have an RF modulator in it. You had to buy an external one and plug it in. In fact, I've got one somewhere, but you'd have to plug it in there. And that made sense because RF modulators were just a bit rubbish anyway, and eventually we were all going to move to monitors. So the Amiga 500 not having an RF modulator was a good step because eventually you could just start selling them without the RF modulator because no one would need it. But then this one went backwards in time and installed one inside. And now that added to the cost, and really, I don't know, in 1991, did we still need this in 1991? I'm not sure that it was. I mean, if this wanted to be a cost-reduced machine, they probably should have left this off because you still had the A520 modulator that you could have plugged in the back here anyway for anyone who did desperately need to use it through a TV. And they could have optionally extra bought that, and that would have made this cheaper. They wouldn't have had to put this in. These three caps weren't required. This capacitor wasn't required. Different board design. But yeah, this was a backward step. Like this and the 1200 went backwards in putting the RF modulators in, when really they just didn't need it and they never needed it. RF modulators were a technology that was dying because eventually people would just either have proper inputs on the television or would get a monitor which had proper inputs on it. So that's the deal. Next step, find out that it still works, take the caps off. So I'm just going to do a quick reboot test and make sure I haven't damaged anything. I'm not going to plug anything in, I'm not going to boot any games or anything, but as long as it boots, I'm going to say it's still good to go. And the answer is it boots. There we go. So at least it boots to the ROM. So that's all good. So I haven't broken anything, but I have managed to disassemble it and I have found some rust. It's a lot cleaner now. I had to wash my hands afterwards. There was so much grime on my hands. It was ridiculous. It is still a bit dirty, but it'll get cleaner as we go, especially as we start doing the recapping. But I want to get the rest of that dirt off as well. I'd like to clean in that ROM socket as well, I think, because there'll be lots of dirt in there, I think. But that's good, better, that is better. So next step, I think, is to, because I haven't got the caps to replace them, I'm actually going to take photographs of all these caps. I'm going to write down for each one what the capacitance and the voltage was for each one, for the original one. I'll make notes of all that, and then I'll remove them all, and then we'll replace them all in one go. I think that will be the best thing. I think the caps are arriving tomorrow, actually. So I can see here that C303 is 22, it says 22, there's that microfarad, and 25 volt. They are for the audio op amp, I believe I know that one. That's for the reset one. In fact, it'd be interesting, we could desolder this one first and we'll see that the computer doesn't boot without this one. But I could desolder, or I could just desolder everything except that one and the computer will still boot, except you won't get any video. Like without these you won't get any audio, without those you probably won't get any audio. I'm not sure what that one does. These three over here, I can just take these out and never put them back and the computer will be fine. These filter the voltage line, it will probably work without these. Who knows? There's so many of these you can take out and the thing still works, which is it's quite hard to find out if the capacitors are actually failing, because sometimes they will only cause the computer to fail when it's under certain circumstances. But at the moment, this computer's working fine, so off it goes. We'll get on with the uncapping.